I am struck when I look at the new album cover for Beyonce's country album. For those of you guys who haven't seen it, I'll describe it. It's Beyonce Knowles Carter, or Beyonce Carter, with sitting on a white horse with an American flag, dressed in a cowgirl outfit. And, it's definitely patriotic. Now, I know that there are some members of the country and music genre who are used to seeing it as mostly a all white endeavor. I know it's a bit shocking to them, but I like the fact that we have black Americans, foundational black Americans specifically, those who could trace our roots back to the American South before 1860. I like the fact that we're embracing our American heritage. And, to speak of something like this, in the heyday of, the controversial rap group like EPMD, it would be, oh my God, it'd be like blasphemy. How dare you embrace America? Oh my God. But I think black Americans, I think foundational black Americans have realized that for the most part, this is our country, and it is our country by default. Because when you look around, you look at all the 50 some odd countries in Africa, there's not one of them that would accept all 40 million foundational black Americans. I remember before Donald Trump was elected back in 2016, there were some polls done uh, which were caught on video, where people in Africa, different countries in Africa, were approached and asked, what they think about black Americans coming to return to Africa. And many of them had a lot of negative things to say. Not all, but there was enough of them that I could detect that there's an undercurrent of negativity associated with African Americans or foundational black Americans. They don't want us there. They don't want us there. They don't want us returning. We are of African descent, but we're not African. We're American. We're black American. We're foundational black American. We're not African. We're not culturally African. We did not grow up eating traditional African foods. We do not do traditional celebrate traditional African holidays, or um, culturally speaking, we don't operate like that. We don't see the world. We don't have an African-centered worldview. We have an American-centered worldview. We have a Western-centered worldview. And so, for the most part, culturally and we're Americanized. Even genetically, we're Americanized. Most foundational black Americans, those who can trace their roots back to prior to that 1860 census, are genetically not 100% sub-Saharan African. For the most part, I believe we're roughly about, the average African American is about 30% non-sub-Saharan African, and that could be European or whatever the mixture may be, whatever the admixture may be. And so phenotypically we're different. Genetically we're different. Yeah, we have African heritage. We have African genetics, but we're not African. On top of that, and as I said before, the Africans don't see us as African. So where else do we have to go other than the United States of America? And it's high time that we begin to embrace that, because there's no, first of all, we earned it. We paid our dues in blood and treasure. We maintained this country. Um, we help build the culture in this country. We are definitely the heartbeat of the music industry, the entertainment industry. Our backs help build the railroads and the buildings and maintain the the South. We're overrepresented in the military. all these different things. We're doctors, we're lawyers, we're innovators, we're businessmen, um, politicians, whatever it is, we fill every genre. And so, my thing is it's just time for us to begin to embrace our American and reap the benefits of it. I think also that Black American men, especially since the onset of the cultural movement called Passport Bros, have realized that their American citizenship has privileges, especially when you go overseas. I think the brothers realize that, yeah, in the United States, I'm relegated to a color. But when I go places like the Philippines and Thailand, when I go places like the Dominican Republic and Colombia, they don't see me as black, they see me as an American first, who happens to be black. And so in doing so, you get that same American treatment. Now, it may be because those people think you're rich and they want your money, but nevertheless, good treatment is still good treatment. Why would you care why somebody's treating you well? All you really care about is the fact that they are treating you well, I would imagine. And so we are able to reap the benefits of it. We're able to reap the benefits, and that in alone should help you see America from a different perspective, especially considering that there's so many opportunities here for Black Americans that you would not find in all the other countries in the world. There's a reason why so many people of color, whether they be African, Latino, Hispanic, Asian, Central Asia, there's a reason they want to come here. America's a big corporation. America is a business. America is not a place you come to get cozy. It's a place you come to get rich. It's not somewhere you can curl up. It's not a place you want to curl up with and get comfortable in this culture. No, this is a money-making culture. That's why the founding document in our country is called a constitution, which translates to contract, because it's a contract between business entities. It's a contract between different organizations and different lands. And we're going to come here and we're going to make money. We're going to make a lot of money. We're going to live very well. And we're going to take that money and we're going to utilize it to maintain a lifestyle that we want to live. We are truly an experiment. And I think Black Americans are finally realizing just how much benefit we reap. Now, I'm not saying that there aren't issues here in the United States. I am not one of those people who will say, oh, racism doesn't exist. That's not what I mean at all. Of course, racism exists. Matter of fact, we had signs up. No coloreds. We had signs. Of course, racism exists. And even though the signs are gone, sometimes the knowledge is still there. We have places called sundown towns, which are on the maps. There's no need to deny racism. I think instead just accept it as just one more of those environmental or social impediments that are there that need to be overcome. You see, racism did not stop our ancestors fresh out of slavery from making money. It did not stop them from founding towns and churches and having societies. It has not stopped these modern day Black American men, especially to the tune of over 60% who have reached the middle class by the time they reach middle age. Yeah, racism is an obstacle, but I'm not going to let any obstacle get in the way of my prosperity. Even when we were a segregated people, we did well. And that was at the highest point of racism as far as I'm concerned, and oppression. But at this point, it's just wide open. It's a wide open market. You can literally make thousands of dollars a month without ever leaving your house using the internet. So if you want to be a troll and you don't want to socialize with people, you don't want to deal with racism, that's fine. It's not going anywhere. It's going to be here. It's it's as American as apple pie. So, either you learn to deal with it, you learn to work around it, you learn to use it to your favor, even as a Black person. But you don't let it stop you from doing what you're supposed to do here in the United States. And I think a lot of Black men especially have realized that. So kudos to the fellas. But again, brothers, it's time to embrace, and Black women, it's time to embrace the United States. Africans don't want you. If they wanted you, they would have sent boats and planes over here to come get you. When they saw the sort of oppression that we were dealing with, they would have sent ships over here to get you in the 1950s when the firemen were turning water hoses on black men and black women during the civil rights. They didn't do it, and so we bore our cross. We gold plated our cross, and we're dealing with it. But at the end of the day, there's really no other country where we can go and not live the lifestyle that we're living, not have 4-bedroom homes with 4 bathrooms and driving around in our German cars, and our children can go to the best schools and learn about all sorts of history and science and mathematics. You're not going to be able to do that in most countries in Africa or South America or Asia. And I don't care what people say. It's just not like this in other places. And the brothers who've traveled around the world, they realize it. And you're not going to have the sort of freedom that you have here. You can pretty much marry who you want, live where you want, make as much money as you want, as long as you pay your taxes and stay out of trouble. Get enough education. You can be rich. You can be successful. You can have peace of mind and happiness. I mean, the earth is circular for a reason. Is wherever you go, you're still you're still here. You can go as far in one direction as you want to, and you end up right back in the same place. So the best thing to do is set up roots and do the best you can. And there's really no other. And I think black Americans are realizing that America is truly the land of opportunity. And that's what you see happening. Whether you like it or not, and I know there's going to be some people who come to my page and they're going to come up with conspiracy theories and talk about how oppressed black people are and how we've been historically repressed. And they're going to make those statements and make those responses from $1,000 iPhone that's powered by minerals that were dug up by children in Africa. Okay, that they're now utilizing to complain about what I'm saying. That's what they're going to do as they reap the benefits and privileges associated with being an American. They're going to attempt to be angry with me for pointing out how much benefit they reap and privileges they have from being an American. That's the irony, and that's black folks. So yeah, right. I don't think that's going to go very far. I think we all realize that we have it good. I think instead of continuing to shun America and down America, recognize that what's good for America is good for foundational black Americans, because we live here. When the economy is up, we're up. When we have allies in the Middle East that support our interests, then that's good for us. When we have, when we eliminate through military force the enemies of America, that's good for America. And I get it. You may have a big heart for some country somewhere. I get it. I understand. But at the end of the day, as long as our politicals and our military, our politicos and military personnel are doing what's in the best interest of America, inevitably that benefits foundational black Americans, because those people over there are looking out for their country. So we need people over here looking out for our country and our interests. And that's just how it goes. There's an old saying that says it's not where you're from, it's where you at. It's made famous in a lot of those bounce songs from the 1980s and 90s down in New Orleans. And when I first heard it coming out of Los Angeles, you're like, yeah, I'm from LA, but you know what? You're not in LA. At that time, I was in somewhere in North Louisiana. It's like, you're not in LA. You in North Louisiana. It's not where you're from, it's where you at. You are here, okay? You are right here in the United States, whether it be somewhere on the West Coast, East Coast, down South, Mid-Atlantic, Deep South, out West, wherever you are, you're an American. And so what benefits America benefits you. And if it doesn't, that means you are not aligned with where you need to be. That's all that means. That means you need to figure out what is it that I need to be doing to benefit like the rest of these Americans are. And whatever impediments are in the way, I need to go ahead and get around that. It's just like There's always going to be adversity in life. There's always going to be a monster. There's always going to be a dragon to slay. No matter where you are around the world. It's just here in the United States, they give us better tools and better opportunity to slay those dragons, as opposed to these other countries. It's like, nah. Not only are we not going to let you slay the dragon, we're not going to help you do it. We're not going to give you tools. Matter of fact, we're going to be the dragon. That's how the systems are set up in the other countries, because they don't want people to have that much power and authority. They don't want it. They want to keep you oppressed, because at the end of the day, they don't want any competition. But here in the United States, we look for competition. We want it. There was a time when black folks were excluded from fair competition. We were excluded from certain higher educational opportunities, job opportunities, real estate opportunities. But now many of those structural barriers have been breaking down. Yeah, I get it. Racism exists bigger, because this is the reason I keep bringing it up, because black folks bring up racism at all times. That is the crutch that we use to blame for all of our shortcomings. You got pregnant at 16 with twins, with your baby daddy who lived down the street. Must be racism. You know what I'm saying? You got caught with guns and dope, ended up in jail for 40 years. It's racism. It's always racism. But at the end of the day, okay, you played the game. It is what it is. The rest of us have an opportunity to learn from you. But again, I'm telling you, foundational black Americans, man, look, you got to embrace your heritage. You really don't have anywhere else to go. Nobody's we all can't pack up and move to Ghana, 40 million deep. It's not going to work, because they're going to run us up out of there. You can't go to China. Can't go to Russia. So we might as well make the best do with where we are right now. Not saying you shouldn't visit. I'm not saying that some people won't relocate, but the answer for the vast majority of us is that we got to do the best with what we have here. And the great thing about it is we got a lot to work with in the United States. So that's just my thoughts on that. I really look forward to reading the comments and hearing what you all have to say. And what I'm describing is not blind patriotism. I'm not describing, just love America as it is, no matter what. And that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying recognize that you have great opportunities here, and you need to embrace that and make America work for you, like our ancestors wanted it to do, as opposed to continuing to not participate in the system because in your mind it's just a terrible place to be, because it's not. So shout out to all the brothers and sisters who are embracing their Americanhood or their Americanness, and I think that's a good step. I think it's a step